We are stepping back in time to the 11th day of November 2005 to witness the birth of a brand new short-line railroad, the Modoc Northern. Operating on the remaining 107 miles of former Southern Pacific's Modoc line in Southern Oregon and Northern California, the Modoc Northern would continue to provide a key rail link to industry in remote Lake County. The freshly painted diesel locomotives showing off the new railroad's paint scheme reflected the freshly signed lease agreement with the Union Pacific. The 7780 is a GE B30-7 built in 1980. It has kept its original number from its early days as a Cotton Belt and later a Southern Pacific engine. The second unit, number 1011, is a former Southern Railway chop-nose B23-7 built in 1978. The cupola caboose is of Denver and Rio Grande heritage. These three pieces are entering their new home rails for the very first time. The line serves industry between Klamath Falls, Oregon and Alturas, California, and members of the local Chamber of Commerce are on hand with railroad dignitaries for a special train ride, which begins with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Two passenger cars from the McLeod Railway in Northern California have been tapped for this afternoon's excursion, which is fully catered for chamber members. We have decided to forego the festivities and obtained permission from the crew for a rare cab ride. So, let's get aboard now.
Still set up. Go ahead and release them. Release over.
Our engineer is Chris, and the conductor is Rito. Today's excursion is a round-trip run between Texum and Tulelake, a distance of roughly 23 miles each way.
Yeah, take a nice easy trip. 25.
Numerous grade crossings keep the crew on their toes, watching out for motorists who might not be expecting a train on this little used line. Chris blows the horn for each crossing, using the standard pattern of long, long, short, long.
Race the train to get your foot going. I say, yeah, there's been times I've literally stood here and seen the whites in people's eyes. Yeah.
A trackside defect detector gives us a report over the radio.
2B detector, milepost 546.2. No defects. Axle count 2. Train speed 25 mph. Detector out.
All good.
That's why you're going on first.
I tell you, this is a former SP locomotive. Yeah.
How can you tell? Yeah, there's gray primer under the screen. I've seen it. It said Southern Pacific on it a month ago.
Good.
See, when UP bought SP in 99, they didn't want them. And so they went to an auction and they were giving these away between $5,000 and $10,000.
Really?
And now the price has gone up. It's probably worth about $50,000. Because of all the short lines that have started operating.
Yeah.
But SP was on a shoestring budget. They didn't put any money into it.
After crossing South Merrill Road, we arrive at the siding of Merrill, surrounded by potato sheds and a grain elevator. Agriculture is the driving force of the area's economy.
We're not keeping these passenger cars, are we?
I think we are.
This
Maybe
could be a
not.
Friday, dude. This could be a month-to-month deal.
Maybe not. We'll find out. If we don't, that'd be great. To go up in the yard. Go to 11 with our motor, set the passenger cars out, back to 11 and go. Pick up the caboose. This guy here is an old buff, got all this junk.
Yeah. So how many miles of track does the Modoc Northern have?
104. Actually 107, but 104 in use.
Right.
Basically what they do is UP interchanges to them. They serve these customers along this Modoc line.
Right.
And then they also help Lake County. Without Modoc Northern and supplying them cars, Lake County wouldn't have any way of doing what they do.
Right.
We basically take a lot of stuff over to Alturas to interchange with Lake County.
You don't go to Lake, you just go to Alturas?
Yeah, they do a 60-mile run over to Alturas.
Right.
Pick up or deliver cars that we set out for, and vice versa.
East of Malone, the track bends to the southeast in a tangent that will bring us through Tulelake. We speed up the camera to make up for our lumbering gait of 20 miles per hour. Entering the state of California, we arrive at Tulelake, milepost 529.7 on the railroad. Elevation, 4,066 feet above sea level. With a population of around 900, it is the largest community between Klamath Falls and Alturas. For a short time period in the early 1990s, Southern Pacific's famous sugar beet trains loaded near here. As we near the stopping point, Chris points out the new portable office buildings for the Modoc Northern. Let's take another look at the train before returning north. The Modoc Northern crew pose for a few frames and have fun with the cameraman.
All right, 5 minutes of fame right there.
You already had it rolling, huh?
UP 9212 will lead the train back to Klamath Falls. It is a GE-840C built in 1988 and is on lease from the Union Pacific. Let's get aboard.
Tommy's back there.
Before departing, the crew performs the required air test, which Chris initiates from the cab of the 9212.
Set him up.
As we depart Tulelake, it is instantly apparent how much smoother the ride feels when compared to the smaller B30-7. The locomotive's extra weight and 6 axles really make a difference.
Which side?
About 3 miles from the end of our trip, we get stopped by the hotbox detector we heard earlier on the way down. The crew get out and inspect the short train. After a thorough inspection, the crew found nothing wrong, and we are soon underway on the final short leg of the journey.
Give you both thumbs up. Give you both thumbs up. They're getting on. Yeah, I guess those detectors, they're pretty sensitive. We are jumping ahead to the 18th day of April 2006. It is a beautiful morning, but spring is still weeks away in Northern California. The previous evening, an eastbound train from Klamath Falls was tied down at Tulelake, and today it'll make the rest of the trip to Alturas. The engine that we first rode, Modoc Northern 7780, is down for repairs, so number 1011 will work as a second unit behind the UP 9212. The crew performs some switching duties before departure.
A BNSF track crew have been welding on the diamond near Stronghold, where the Modoc line crosses BNSF's Gateway subdivision. This main line runs between Klamath Falls and Ketty in the Feather River Canyon, where it joins the UP. The welders have permission from the BNSF Gateway sub-dispatcher on the diamond, but promptly get in the clear to let the Modoc Northern train by. Railroad diamonds take a beating from thousands of steel wheels that pound them each day. The train picks up speed at Newell. Schuylkill Mountain rises in the background behind the train as it crosses under California Highway 139 near Perez. The train enters the Modoc National Forest as the railroad climbs to the summit at Ambrose. Milepost 485.4 marks the sighting of Ambrose and the summit of the grade at 4,970 feet above sea level. It is mid-April, and it's not unusual to find a slight covering of snow on the ground in a country that can have freezing temperatures even in the summer.
Seeing a train with a caboose in 2006 was a real treat, and we applaud the Modoc Northern for bringing back a taste of railroading from times gone by. East of Ambrose, trains experience a 2.2% downhill run to Canby, as evidenced by the sound of the two GE's dynamic brake fans. After passing through Canby, the line turns east-northeast as trains meander through the Warm Springs Valley, following the leisurely course of the Pitt River. An old Southern Pacific depot stands in the weeds at Alturas, near the current end of track. The Modoc line used to continue south and east to Fernley, Nevada, bypassing their line over Donner Pass. That section was abandoned by the UP after absorbing the Southern Pacific. To the north, the Lake County Railroad runs 55 miles to Lakeview via the former SP-NCO line and interchanges cars with the Modoc Northern. As for this crew, the day's work is nearly done, and they will get a ride back to Tulelake after tying up. Our final segment was shot on November 18th, 2008. The railroad is now 3 years old, but sadly doesn't have long to live. Two vintage EMD SD9s were recently purchased by the Modoc Northern, number 650 and 651. The 651 was built in March of 1957 for the Duluth, Mesabi and Iron Range and was originally numbered 130. Today, after several modifications, it is classified as an EMD SDM. With the thundering of F-15s from nearby Kingsley Air Base, 651 leads the train off the UP at Texum. With the recession starting to hit in the fall of 2008, many rail cars were being put in storage, like the 3 tanks on this train. Notice the brakeman riding the rear car. At this time, the Modoc Northern no longer used its caboose. A string of tank cars are already filling up the spare tracks at Stuckel, and today's train will be adding 3 more cars to the collection before continuing toward Tulelake.
After doing its work at Schuylkill, the 651 continues east toward Merrill. Schuylkill Mountain rises above the main line. Its 6,447-foot tall peak is a landmark in the Klamath Basin. A slightly taller landmark, Mount Shasta, rises its 14,179-foot summit to the Northern California sky. After dropping off a couple of empty grain hoppers at Malone, the 651 heads for Tulelake. The Modoc line is made up mostly of jointed rail. Once a standard in American railroading, 39-foot sections of track are bolted together with angle bars like these. The 39-foot length was chosen back in 1888 to fit standard 40-foot gondolas used at the time. Over time, joints wear down if not maintained properly, causing cars to rock to the rhythm of the rail. This is known as harmonic rocking and can cause cars to tip over if the train speed is in the critical range between 15 and 18 miles per hour. These hoppers are rocking a little, but they stay on the track as 651 rounds the curve near milepost 535. Heading back to Merrill, we wanted to show you the interesting collection of steam locomotives and other rail equipment near the track. They were rescued by Fred Kepner in hopes of restoration one day. Fred was kind enough to let us explore his collection and even let us climb on the equipment for some of these shots. This former Southern Pacific Big Hook was stationed in Klamath Falls for years. Local UP managers were told to get rid of it, and Kepner was more than willing to take it off their hands, with help from the Modoc Northern. Kepner passed away in October of 2021, and his entire collection was purchased by the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad in Garibaldi, with plans to restore some of the locomotives, something we are sure Kepner would have loved to see. While visiting his collection on this November afternoon, we had no idea this would be the last Modoc Northern train we would ever shoot, as 651 heads back to Klamath Falls. The short line had financial troubles, and UP canceled its lease in May of the following year, ending a short page in the history of Southern Pacific's Modoc line. If you enjoyed this program, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to see more content added weekly. From all of us at 7 Idea Productions, thanks for watching.